Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Green Country Baits here. It's been highly requested we do a bunch of crawl patterns. It's one of my favorite things to paint. So we've got a new one to the lineup. Looks very similar to most red and orange crawls. We're looking for a name for this one. So come follow along. If you want to see a red orange or an apple red orange crawl pattern, we're fixing to spray some paint and we're going to be doing it crawfish style. So come join me. Subscribers and new people to Green Country Baits. We're going to do it's going to look similar to many other crawls out there, but what we're going to be using is a candy apple red. Okay, so this is going to be a kind of an orange red crawl. There's a lot of different ones out there, but none of them that I've seen utilizes the candy apple red that we're going to have in this one. So it's going to be just a little bit different shade, and here we go. Lure's base coated. We taped off the originality of this and kept the wording. Anyway, we're ready to roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entirety of this bait in an orange. Cover all that old white base coat up. We do want to utilize a white base coat with this one because we're looking for a bright, real bright orange. So this is a stained water pattern, and I'm going to tell you, it's winter. I like utilizing oranges and yellows even in my clear water lake in the winter time. So don't pass it up this time of year. Just a little bit of that. We timed it about right. It doesn't have to be perfect coverage because we're going to come back and be doing lots of different detail work. All right, so next up we've got our Auto-Air Candy Apple Red. And I'm just going to drop that right in top of the orange. And so to me, this is a cool pattern. I don't know if I utilize candies like they should be utilized, but we're going to see how it looks over this orange. I've not done this one. Oh my gosh. I was trying to mix a little 4011 in there and I dropped way too much. Incorporate just a little bit of that. Oh yeah. All right, so we're going to have a candy apple red top. Now I'm going to do like I do on most woodworts and leave the corners of this bill orange. You can kind of see what we're doing there. Now, I think I've got a real good idea for this in a different video that we'll probably do when we're not going to be using our 3D stencils, where I can come in here and really lay in some candy apple just on the stencils or the crawl plates itself, okay, and leave a lot of that orange, which we're going to try to do that a little bit even with this one, but I think that would give us a really, really good looking effect. I'm going to go ahead and heat set this a little bit. I want it to come down a little bit more into the sides. As you can tell, you know, we're going to have that. And obviously we're going to have a black outline around our crawl plates as we call them, but I want that candy apple red to come down into that midline of that bait and maybe even down into this lower half. So but I want to leave some orange. I don't want it to be all candy apple. So we're just going to visualize where that would be. What we got going on here? There we go. Now we'll darken her up a little bit. Okay. Now, I don't use a hair dryer, so excuse me. I'm gonna let that bait cool just a little bit. We're gonna come back and we're gonna put in our, basically put it in our stencil here. That bait needs to cool just a little bit longer, so let's let it rest just a little bit. The reason I do that, when you're putting them in these 3D stencils, if your bait's still pretty hot and that paint hadn't set just yet, the edges, even though these have been done really well, and I always go back with a little sandpaper and smooth it out, they can still scratch your bait just a little bit. So we don't want to have to go touch it up. Still yet with these, a lot of times you do have to, but if we do, we do. But if we can avoid it, it just makes the process go a little bit faster. So hang on just a few minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back here. Let's see, I got a little black loaded up. We're spraying pretty good. Let me make sure got no tip dry on this. I showed this in the last video, so I'm not going to be super repetitive. Again, on some of the finer lines, you can just spray through it. I don't want this one really dark. It's hard to see through this stencil how much paint you're laying down. So just go light, or on this particular pattern we are. So let's take a look. Yeah, just about right. That candy apple red is just a little bit different red. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick that up, but it is. It's just a little bit different red. Now, we could leave it like that, but what I want to do for this particular pattern is we're going to come back over the top with a green pumpkin, and we're going to give it a splatter too. Kind of really set that thing off. We'll paint our eyes black, and I think we're going to have a winner. So let's see if we've got what we've got on our green pumpkin here. I'm going to turn the pressure up just a little bit here. We've got a light brown and a leaf green to get our, we'll just come right inside that. Absolutely. Liking that. Now, we ended up covering up a bunch of our candy apple on that. And that's one of the reasons why when I'm looking at doing this pattern with this particular stencil, I think I'd like to come back with my old school, just my J-hook and or just, you know, a tape method to where I could really work the candy apple red into a lot of different them plates. But you can still see it where we did spray it in here. But I think this green pumpkin, along with that, those reds and oranges, are going to give us a really, really good looking bait. So, as I do with most eyes, we're just going to paint our eyes in on crawl baits, and then I'm going to cut our pressure back, and we are going to do some splatter. And I've still got the same black in I've been using, so we're going to see if we need to thin that. Your paint's got to be pretty thin, or you got to run a little bit higher pressure to kind of get it started. Yeah, it's starting. I want some bigger drops. If you have trouble getting it going, just spray some paint, put your nozzle cap back on, kind of get that thing flowing pretty good, because this black has been setting. Or add a drop of two of the reducer. Mix it just a little bit, and it'll allow you to get a little bit better droplets if you're looking for larger droplets, which we are on this particular pattern. If I got a little clog going, there we go. Now we spraying. Had to kick the pressure way up. So if you go high pressure, and we'll see if you can pick this up, you're going to get these little bitty dots. I'd like to get the bigger drops, so there we go. We're going to lay down a pretty heavy splatter on this. Starting to flow a little bit better here. Well, what do you think? Is that enough splatter? I think it breaks it up pretty good. We're just gonna get a little more right up here on this edge. Nice. So I don't have really a name. I don't know, years ago I got to naming crankbaits, or naming patterns of crankbaits. And after you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it, you run out of names. So I don't know if this is called orange apple crawl, horse apple crawl, which them things are green. But anyway, you guys tell me, what do you want to call it? If we were to name this thing, I've got a bunch of different names on the website, and it's going to be a little bit similar, but I'm going to tell you, when we get the clear coat on it, I'm really thinking that candy apple is going to kind of jump up, even though there's not a lot of it that's going to show through with that bait, being that we done the green pumpkin and splatter over the top. So, but anyway, I think it'll be a good pattern for this winter, and I know it'll be a great spring pattern in clear or stained water situations. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up for me. Also, want to invite you to share the video, and make sure you click the notification bell so you can get all our future uploads that we're going to be doing over the next few months. So until next week, Green Country Baits. signing out.